This is a great place to enjoy some peace and quiet, but less than a mile away is another fascinating Dales story, where one man defied all the odds to survive a deadly air crash. In late January 1942, this valley was in the grip of an Arctic blizzard, and high above the village of Cray, an RAF Wellington bomber and its Polish crew was in deep trouble. In the snowstorm, the plane lost its bearings and headed into Wharfdale on one of its highest hills, Buckton Pike. Richard Fushkiak's father Joe was the rear gunner, and what unfolded next was straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster. Well, he's a good-looking man, your dad.
Yeah.
And this is about how he would have looked on the day of the crash, isn't it?
I think that photograph was taken just shortly before he...
I've got around 25 miles ahead of me, and for most of my journey I'll have the River Wharf for company. And it doesn't take long before one of the Dales' most iconic locations looms into view. Bolton Abbey is a popular day out for those who live in the towns and cities of Yorkshire and Lancashire. The Bolton Abbey estate covers 30,000 acres and has more than 80 miles of footpaths, plus the ruins of an Augustinian priory. Work started on it in the 12th century, and a thriving religious community soon settled in the area. But 400 years later, Henry VIII came calling and stripped the priory of its assets. But religion did survive here. Once it was negotiated that the locals could keep a church on site, and it still stands today. The Abbey has been a tourist spot for as long as anyone can remember, but its popularity took off in the post-war decades, when workers from places like Bradford and Burnley used their increased leisure time to explore the great outdoors. Today, it gets around 450,000 visitors each year and is the Yorkshire home of the Duke of Devonshire. What is it, you think, that makes Bolton Abbey and this part of Wharfdale so unique? Can you define it for us?
I think it's a combination of the more...
Now, what have we got?
Probably going out over that.
Right.
The thing that we really know to stop into is look at the size of that foot.
Right, the big feet, okay.
And those big feet are used to scoop insects out of the water. They can actually even scoop insects with their tail membrane as well.
Well, they really are great hunters, aren't they? I mean, they've got their mouth, which they use for insects, their big feet, which they can use for insects, and their tail, which they can scoop them up as well.
Yeah.
You know, they are like little furry fighter jets. The bats are released unharmed to continue feeding, but there's one last surprise.